la lejana montaña.
Hey y'all, today I'm talking about Dia de los Muertos, and it is not Mexican Halloween. Don't say that. Hey y'all, it's your welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing if you have. We're currently, I think, 415 subscribers deep in the domination. So, yay! I'm so excited you guys are here, and I'm so glad you guys are enjoying my content. And I can't ever speak, person, and you still understand me. So I love you even more. Like we're like this. I say we're like that. We're so close. I want to your baby shower. I want to come and I want to meet your mom. Moms love Dom. But anyways, if you're new here, hi, I'm Dom, and I make new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. I do beauty, makeup, story times, commentary. So that's like up your alley. If you like talkative, bubbly, queer women, I think you should just go ahead, hit the like button on this video and subscribe. I'm getting videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Get you through your week. Hope you enjoy the weekend. Just living life, having the best, living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you. Okay, but yeah. Okay, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is celebrated every year from October 31st to November 2nd. Now, this holiday has its origins in Mexico, but it is celebrated by Mexican populations across the globe, and I believe in other Latin American countries and Central America as well. The theme of the holiday is simply death, but it is a colorful and celebration of life meant to demonstrate love and respect for deceased family members, and all the rituals have symbolic meaning. So, Day of the Dead actually originates from several thousand years ago before Spanish conquest. These are origins from the Aztec, Toltec, and Noah people who consider mourning the dead disrespectful because in their eyes, death is just a part of life and part of the continuum of life. To them, the dead are members of society kept alive in memory and in spirit. During this holiday, they temporarily return to Earth. It's the belief. Present Day of the Dead is kind of a mash of this indigenous tradition with Catholicism, and the dates align with the Catholicism dates of All Saints Day and All Souls Day. And I know too, they have, I know November 1st is Dia de los Inocentes, the Innocence Day, so like for deceased children and babies. They'll have like toys and candy, stuff like that they would like them when they're alive. And then November 2nd is more for the adults, and they'll have things like beer and cigarettes on the altars. Of course, I didn't get the altars yet. Okay, right. The main part of the celebration is the altar. That they can set up either in their home or at like the grave site. And they're meant to welcome their spirits of their dead loved ones back into the realm of the living. They'll usually put things on there that they loved when they were alive, like certain foods, certain drinks. And those things are called la ofrendas. They're called la ofrendas, so they put on the altar called la ofrendas, which means like the offerings. Pretty simple. So again, yeah, they usually have water, food, family photos, pretty common, candles, toys for the children. And I'm trying to look at these words because there is again, as you can tell, I really love Mexico. I think their culture is amazing and interesting. And there's so many words that have like indigenous roots in them. So marigolds, there's another word for this. Okay, using cempasúchiles, which is the flor de muerto, or la flor de muerto, which is the marigolds. And they're used to like decorate altars, and also like they leave them as a pathways for the dead to find their way to their altar. I think it makes sense because it's very bright yellow color. Also too, there is a dog that helps these spirits too, and I'm gonna mess up this name. It's the Mexican hairless dog, but it is an indigenous word, but we're gonna try this out, okay? Zolo Otisquinitelli, or I think they're just called Zolos for short. Those are the guards, like the dog spirits that help guide the dead to and from the altars, according to tradition. Smoke of copal incense is used to purify the altar, along with prayers and rest. And there are some parts of Dia de los Muertos. You have like parades. I think one of my favorite part is the calaveras. So at first, calaveras were short, humorous, sarcastic poems for tombstone epitaphs that were put in newspapers, which I thought was hilarious. That poke fun of the living. So those first were calaveras, but actually calavera literally means skull in Spanish. So another common tradition is the sugar skulls that are part of a sugar art tradition brought by the 17th century Italian missionaries for foods of the dead. Another one of the dead that people will eat is called pan de muerto, which is typically like a sweet bread, and they'll have that also on altars too. It's pretty common.
At home, the ofrenda is created to welcome the spirits back. Food plays a huge role in helping pay respect to loved ones. A lot of the traditional food and drink on Dia de los Muertos comes from a blend of Spanish and indigenous beliefs and practices. A common food item is pan de muerto, my personal favorite, or bread of the dead. It's a sweet and eggy bread shaped into people, animals, bones, and skulls. The sweet smell is said to help the dead find their families. The Spaniards are said to have brought the bread tradition to Mexico, but some say the design of the bread had roots to Aztec traditions. The bread is usually designed with 4 lines on top. Some say it represents the 4 cardinal points on the Aztec calendar. Others say the lines represent the bones of those who have died, and the center of the bread represents the heart or the skull. Other food in the ofrenda can include mole, fruit, and sweets. Drinks are put out too. There is pulque, a sweet fermented beverage made from agave sap. Pulque is sometimes mixed with nuts and fruits to make pulque curado. This drink was first drunk by the ancient Mesoamericans, like the Mayans and Aztecs. It was served at important religious festivals and celebrations.
I love calaveras. I think they're, if you haven't had one before, you definitely have to have a sugar skull. They're delicious. People like to dress with La Catrina. She's like the parade of La Catrina. So let me see here. They do have like a parade of La Catrinas. People paint up their face like hers. And she, let's see. Dame of the Dead. La Catrina was not Latin America's first Grand Lady of Afterlife. This honor belongs to okay, we're gonna do this. Again, indigenous words, because we love embracing indigenous culture, you know. Okay. Mitecacihuatl. And she's queen of the Aztec underworld of Chicumnamictlan. And her role was to wash over the bones of the dead, and her presence was a front and center during the recognition of those who passed on. Okay, where did the souls pass on to? The belief amongst Mesoamericans was that the dead make a journey that ascends 9 levels to the depths of Chicumnamictlan. The ancients' view of death was not a mournful one. They saw it as part of the cycle of life, celebrated the departed by leaving offerings on makeshift altars or ofrendas that would assist them on their onward trials. Ingredients of the modern image of La Catrina were drawn together as recently as 1910 by the Mexican illustrator Jose Guadalupe Posada. Posada was born in Mexico in 1852 and would create cartoonish lithographs and engravings to satirically illustrate political and societal issues. His work frequently published in Mexican press. What these illustrations together made Posada's fame particularly distinctive was such a central motif, such figures regardless of occupation, social class, and were always represented as skulls for faces. Skull characters or calaveras would depict anything from national tragedies to current events and figures to historical incidents. Posadas such as were sometimes prophetic, apocalyptic. The reduction of every person to bones, no matter of time, place, class, or deed, gave Posadas images a homogenizing quality, the apparent message being underneath we are all the same. Interesting. Okay, Posadas, original sketch of La Calavera Catrina. It was made around 1910. It was designed to be a satire referencing the high society European obsessions of leader Porfirio Diaz, you talked about him, during whose corruption led to the Mexican Revolution of 1911 and toppling his regime. The original name of the sketch reflected the cultural appropriation adopted by certain members of my society, La Calavera Guapancera, with some sources referring to the letter word as a slang for a woman who renounces her Mexican name, Mexican culture, and adopts European aesthetics. So they're saying you're a sellout. Damn, okay. Later, the christening would come from slang with the word Catherine or Katrina, often used to refer to a well-dressed woman or a lady or a dandy. Image was used later by in a mural. The image was later used in a mural in Mexico City by Diego Rivera, which pictured a full-length, coñazo, no puedo hablar hoy, porque casi no puedo leer. Okay, great. So, Diego Rivera, he pictured a central La Catrina in an abstemious full-length gown linking arms with Posada himself, also Rivera's wife, the artist Frida Kahlo. The mortal dream of a Sunday afternoon in Alameda Central became a cultural treasure and further amplified La Catrina's image in the national consciousness. So, the adoption of La Catrina as an emblem of dainty takes many forms, again from tourist skulls to dress to makeup. In many ways, she ties together the times and their interpretation of death. Her elegant dress suggests her celebration and smile. However, inescapable, reminding us that there are perhaps comfort in a sentence of mortality and that the dead should be commemorated and not feared. That whoever you are, we all have the same destiny, and perhaps in a nod back to the culture's earliest beliefs that the guardian of whatever comes after life is decidedly female form. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I love this. It's just so fascinating. It's just all very, very fascinating.
Reverence for death in Mesoamerica is obvious in many archaeological sites around the region. For over 2,500 years, Mesoamerican cultures shared many of the same traditions when celebrating their ancestors. In the post-classical period, this celebration was a month long and took place in August. Though preparation for Dia de los Muertos can span over a month, today, the celebration generally takes place in 3 days, with many indigenous practices intact.
Y aunque la noche es muy bella, él va pidiéndole a Dios que se lo...
For many who celebrate Dia de los Muertos, death is not the end, but a beginning of a new journey, a journey to the Mictlan, a final resting place for souls. This journey is long, difficult, and probably why so many believe this life is a dream and the next is when we are truly awake. The road to the Mitlan is a journey through the Chikuna Mitlan, the land of the dead, where 9 challenging obstacles await the traveler. It is from these obstacles that many of the items found on contemporary Dia de los Muertos ofrendas originate.
De mis ojos está brotando llanto. A mis años estoy enamorada.
With Spanish colonization, death rituals were influenced by new peoples, laws, and lifestyles. Spain and the Catholic Church made an indelible mark on the cultures of Mesoamerica. Many of these influences were timely influences associated with the golden age of European monarchy and the devastation of the bubonic plague. Decadence and death balanced together in a confusion of right and wrong, good versus evil, layered upon a more cyclical understanding of life. The details and additions to Dia de los Muertos by Europeans were numerous. The idea of cemeteries and the practice of keeping relics were new to Mesoamerica. On altars today, there is evidence of this with sugared skulls and with celebrating this event in cemeteries as well as the home, not to mention the distinct involvement of the church. Before colonization, this celebration took place in the late summer. With the synchronization between Mesoamerican and Catholic practices, the joint celebration now takes place in November on All Saints' Day.
Of course, I love learning, about cultural significance of things from like a intellectual perspective, but I love also too this idea that death's part of life. And I feel like we do this in a lot of ways too, and even just like American culture and like especially being a African American, where you do constantly keep the memory of the dead alive. I know we do when we get family together. We talk about like my grandma, who has been dead for many years now. But there's something that is beautiful about the celebration and like watching people talk about this and learning about it, that that we need to accept our mortality and that we need to appreciate life while it's here, while we're here, which definitely has always been a hard one for me. Struggling with a lot of different illnesses at one time or another, but I'm really grateful right now to be able to function, to work, and to make videos, and to just talk about fun things that I enjoy. Like, I love learning about this stuff. I love learning about the indigenous culture, so that's so cool. Mexica. So I enjoyed this Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead video. Hopefully I did a good job in Mexico. Love Mexico. I think this is like the 3rd Mexico video I've done so far. I think 3rd of the year already. Let's go to Mexico. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video, share with your friends, comment down below, and subscribe. We new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. And again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.